Hi everyone, welcome to this overview of Volt Foundry, the powerful enterprise backend of VoltMX. In this video, we'll learn how Volt Foundry acts as a comprehensive backend platform managing identity, data integration, API management, security, and offering analytics, reporting, and engagement services. We'll walk through how Volt Foundry simplifies backend integration and highlight its key components. And to bring it all to life, we've got a live demo of the Foundry interface. So let's dive in.
So Foundry is basically our enterprise backend. It is both a middleware as well as a connector layer. It manages identity for authentication as well as data integration. It has business rules. It is also an API management layer. It has a developer portal that you can expose to your end developers or partners. It also comes with built-in security as well as a ton of analytics and reporting built in, right? So at a very high level, it lets you even create your own data models, right? And visually map your client data model to the server's backend model, in fact, giving another layer of abstraction. So if you want to switch from, say, a database to a Salesforce or some other API tomorrow, your client application need not even be aware because it is programmed to an interface, and that is your client app data model. And your backend app data model is just mapped from the server, and you can change that mapping anytime. You have pre-built and custom connectors. So we have pre-built connectors, and you have also connectors from marketplace which you can import, and you can always write custom code for any specific niche kind of use case that we have. It also has ability to do orchestration, which is connecting multiple of these integration services together to do more API invocations in the backend, because the backend is a lot more powerful and also has a better network than your client application connecting, for example, doing a login and then an account service and then trying to get some detail of that account. It can do all of that as one call from the client application, and the server does the three calls for you, get the data together and send that back. This whole thing is built from a digital first architecture for improved performance and security, and it lets you accelerate backend and third-party integrations to build the application and make it very powerful, right? So this is a very busy slide, but Foundry does a ton of things, and this is just to showcase some of the things that it does, right? So we basically have client SDKs that lets you connect to Foundry from, Iris is our IDE, but if you want to build your own application using Xcode or Android or .NET, you have that ability as well. You can connect to all the different backends. There are actually, including the marketplace, like 100 odd connectors. You have the ability to use user identity, and you can use user identity per backend. So for example, in the same application, I might be protecting some APIs with the Google Authenticator or something else with an LDAP, and you can during development say this is protected using this is protected using that, and it will ensure that the app developer has logged in, has the appropriate credentials before it even allows connecting to that. It also has offline synchronization capability available. It has an object model, which is also what we talked about, the separate app data model and coding to an interface. With metadata discovery, it has a developer portal and API management with several different versionings. It has analytics built in with a lot of reports, ability to create custom reports, ability to trace the user's journey, as well as application performance management, which includes crash and crash analytics. It has DevOps, it has enterprise app store, build automation, advanced logging, command line interfaces, monitoring the services automatically, and even sending notifications for warning or critical thresholds. It has security built in into it. So now let's look at a quick preview of Foundry. So this is me logging into Foundry, and so Foundry has several different applications. Whatever you created, you can give access to the applications per person. You can grant access at an API level or at an application level. I can go to a specific app and see the services within them. And API management is where I can go and look at each of the APIs. An API can be shared across different applications. I can create an own identity authentication API or an integration API. integration is for data connection, identity is for authentication. I have several different types. I can have data connecting to a database, to a dialog flow. I can even mock the data uh, when I'm not having a backend and still building the client application using mock data. So here we are showing something like an XML and a backend. You can have a base URL, you can have advanced operations. So for example, this is connecting to news to one API, for local news and category from another API. So you can have different operations within the same service. Orchestration, as we said, is for stitching together multiple services. So for example, if I want to get news and weather in the same thing when they are hitting two different backends, I can create one API which is connecting to two different systems, or it can be doing it concurrently or sequentially, depending. I can have different levels of authentication protection for them. So I can make the API available publicly, which means if they know the URL, they can hit and get it. I can make it anonymous, as in the application has to be allowed. I mean, they have to access it from an application built with Iris and Foundry, and only then it will be accessible. Authenticated, as in they have to have an identity. They've logged in using that API, and only then it has access. And I can even make them private for APIs that only server to server communication is allowed, right? So I have different levels of granularity that I can support. It also has objects, which we spoke about, which is built on top of the other things. I can create my object data model, and it can connect to all the different API backends that we spoke of already earlier. And this also lets you support offline applications because it is still working with that object data model. Here we see the different fields of that particular thing. You can have the mapping. You see the client app data model and the server, what the field is mapped to, right? And you can map all the fields that you want. You can see the different verbs, the CRUD verbs, and even you can create custom verbs if you want, and what you are giving access to. Here we are showing this connecting to a database, what are all the connection parameters it needs. So basically showing how this whole connection works. Workflow is another capability which lets you run long business process workflows. Please join webinar 2 for a lot more detail into workflows. And rules is another simple English type language for writing simple rules like, hey, credit greater than this, do X, greater than, less than this, fail it. So English type of business logic for quick things that can be run on the server. This is another type of service that you can run. So here we see, to want to test it, you don't even have to deploy it. You just choose what environment, change your input parameter, and you test this right off the bat from the server console itself. And you can save and retest. You can see the log, see what data is going where. So here I'm changing and seeing it, the approve, reject, and fail test cases. This is showing what is the request that sent, payload, the response payload, how much time it took in milliseconds from the perspective of analytics and such. All of this is available to you right from the Foundry console. We also have developer portal. If you want to make this available as an API portal for your developers or partners to connect to, so you just give the API key and secret to them with the URL, and they can hit it from anything like a Postman and test their apps, and they can basically connect into the API definition right at this point of time. So this is showing that a client portal. And as we said, you also have different client SDKs if you want to connect to them outside of the Iris land as well. This is showing all the different clouds that are there. If you're using our VoltMX cloud, similar UI appears for the on-premise portal as well. And here we are seeing engagement services. Engagement is, I'll briefly cover this later. It is basically for engaging with your applications, so for sending SMS, push notifications, email, and such. And you have the report section where you can view all the standard reports. You can build your own reports. You can create your funnel reports. You can create new metrics and track them as well. So all this capability is available out of the box. Now going back to engagement, as we said, engagement is for keeping engaged with your customers. So primarily sending notifications, push messages, silent push messages, emails, any kind of marketing campaign, right? It can track location. You can create segments by location, segments by other attributes, and you can also have geolocation triggered messages sent to them. It also can manage passes like iOS wallet and all that. It helps you create user segments. DevOps is another capability that is available as part of VoltMX. So take a typical scenario of an application developer checking in code into their source repository. It automatically, using a CI continuous integration scheduler, auto builds. The user logs into the build console, otherwise, and executes a manual build. Basically, you can put it on a scheduler or trigger it when you want. It builds it for all the supported channels. iOS, Android, web application, desktop executables if you want. It sends an email to the user and also store the result when the build is complete. After that, it can deploy that. Say if it is a Foundry application to a SIT or a test environment for doing the test, then it can be hooked up with a device farm and automated run test cases. And then once the test is complete, again send the test results and stuff, email it as well as store it for future use. And then now that the test has passed in the SIT environment, it can push it to whatever we have configured it to, QA or higher level environment. So this entire continuous integration, continuous deployment, testing, source control is done as part of the VoltMX DevOps App Factory tool, right?
To recap, we have explored the power and capabilities of Excel Volt Foundry. It acts as a robust middleware and connector layer handling critical backend tasks for your applications. With pre-built and custom connectors, you can easily connect to systems like databases, ERPs, SaaS apps, and more. Its orchestration engine helps you bundle multiple services into a single efficient API call. Foundry ensures enterprise grade security, integrates with identity providers, and includes analytics, reporting, and user engagement tools. It also supports offline synchronization and integrates seamlessly with DevOps pipelines. If you wish to learn more, try it out with a free trial, visit the Voltamix marketplace, or check out our training. Just scan the QR codes on screen or follow the links in the description. Thanks for watching.